Israel, my servant Jacob, whom I have chosen, the offspring of Abraham, my friend, you whom I took from the ends of the earth and called from its furthest corners, saying to you, you are my servant. I have chosen you and not cast you off. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. May God add his blessing to his word as we discuss it this morning. Israel in the 6th century BCE needed to hear a word of comfort. Isaiah had just told them that God was going to export them. He was going to exile them. They were going to go to Babylon. They had to leave their home because they had not followed his desires, his command. He was going to send them to Babylon. And we know from history that they stayed there for 70 years. As God worked them for 70 years. Imagine what kind of a discouraging word that would be. I know we sometimes say what a discouraging word that is, but this would be a discouraging word. You're going to have to leave home. The comfort and security of your home, you're going to leave it. And the reason you're leaving it is because you were bad. God Almighty is bringing this about. What a discouraging word Isaiah was giving them. You've got to leave. But then he adds this, what we read this morning. Now, he's not leaving them. He's not abandoning them. He is their God. He will be with them. I want to hold your hand. I want to hold your hand. Let's take a look at the next slide here. When we read what Isaiah had to say, we find that there is this theme. Fear not. For I am with you. That's the reason we shouldn't fear. He states it another way. Be not dismayed. Why? Because I am your God. He gives us these comforting words and a reason for them as well. Discouraging words can cause us to lose heart, hopelessness. We get words from the doctor. We get words from the judge. We get words from our neighbors. We get words from our friends. Sometimes they're discouraging words. Words that can take all the hope out of our lives. Sometimes it can even take all of the faith right out of us. We get a word that makes us wonder, is God really with me? Does God really care? Sometimes those words leave us in hopeless situations. So we are with these Israelites, and Isaiah is talking to them, but he's also talking to us because we hear those words as well. Each and every one of us have heard those words. Fear not. Fear not. Let's have the next one here. Fear not. Now, one time I asked how many fear nots there were in the Bible. Of course, it depends on which version you're looking at. I have this wonderful computer program. It took it all of a minute to go through all of the Bibles on my computer and see how many fear nots there are. Well, that's way too many. Let's narrow it down. Just the King James. We can all agree that King James is good. Then we'll look at the King James Bible. I had it printed out. First I told it to look for all the fear nots, wherever fear and not appear in the same sentence. And found 381. 381 times in the King James Bible. Fear and not appear in the same sentence. Well, yeah, okay. That may not mean exactly what I want. So I said, just find the words fear not right next to each other. And when it says the phrase, fear not, 70. 70 times when it says fear not. Here they are, if you want to read them. They're all there. But some of them really didn't make sense, not in this context. For example, in Deuteronomy 25:18, how he met thee by the way, and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not God. It doesn't quite fit what I was talking about. And so out of those 70, they're not all fit. But then, okay, well, wait a minute. What if I look at how many times it says afraid, or do not be afraid, something like that. And then I started stretching it out and looking around it. When I got finished and taking out all the ones that didn't fit the context, I found 111. That's still quite a lot. 111 times God is telling us, do not be afraid. Fear not. So I have this printed up. I have more of them back there if you'd like it. I've got it on the communion table up here as well. Fear not. Fear not. That's an important message apparently God wants to get across to us. Fear not. Well, okay. Fear not. Well, that's a good thing to say. Can you do it? Oh, have you ever been afraid? I see some nods. No, John never is. Go figure. You know, when you're young like that, the world is your oyster. Why worry? Then I saw some other heads out here, a little grayer in nature. Nodding, yes, you've been afraid. You know, they try to ban prayer in school. They'll never ban prayer in school as long as they give tests. There's going to be somebody praying. Oh, Lord, I need you. When I taught at St. Ursula, it was kind of interesting. I found one time on the student's paper, JMJ, at the top of the paper. What's this? Jesus, Mary, Joseph. She needed help on this test. Jesus, Mary, Joseph. And I started looking around. Yeah, it appeared on a lot of the papers. They were praying for help as they went through those exams as well. So yeah, when you take a test, sometimes you're afraid. When else are you afraid? This has been a seminar on fear this week. When I think about it, started off on Sunday. On Sunday, visiting grandmother in the hospital over at UT. Fear. Fear not. Later in the week, we visited your father. He didn't seem to be too afraid. He knew what was happening, and he knew where he was going and how it was going to play out, and he had things pretty well ordered. Well, we would expect that of him. But I still suspect that before he went in, there was a bit of fear. A lot of prayer, but some fear. Oh my. Later in the week, let's see, before Karen, we also went to see Julie as she was getting prepared and going into surgery. Fear not. Fear not. She's home. She's home now and is recovering as best as you would expect. Then the next day we go and there's Karen Heron. She was afraid. She was worried. We had a great discussion. We'll talk more about that later. But there was this concern. Even though she knows who her Lord and Master is and who holds her fate, there's still a bit of worry. Maybe if you've gone on a job interview, you're worried about that. Oh. Sometimes I hope at least you face the time when you've had to confront injustice, where you've seen something that's not right, and you had to go in and say something, do something. Facing injustice can cause some fear. Other times when you might fear, applying for this job. Wow. Everywhere down in Myrtle Beach. Get the call and say, yeah, we'd like to have you do this. Okay. Well, I interviewed for it. I said I wanted it, but now it's real. Now I start to fear. The first sermon, I went in a day ahead of time over there in the sanctuary and practiced it. Gave it all out. I gave it in front of a mirror. I was afraid, man. That was fear. And I still remember shaking the first time we did communion. And I was in charge, breaking the bread. What am I doing? Oh, man, I can't. Why? Oh, Lord, help me. Yeah. Other times when we were afraid. Maybe you've experienced fear of the child being born too soon. Maybe you've experienced the fear of a child not being born. Or the fear of a child dying way too young. Lots of times we fear those things. Fear. Fear not, it says. Fear not. That's a command. It's a command. Fear not. It's not a suggestion. Something that God expects you to do. To fear not. Really? Fear not? You can't turn fear off. I think fear is hardwired into us. Now, maybe you're not afraid of snakes and spiders and wasps and things like that, but maybe some of the other things you were afraid of. Fear of losing a job. Fear of falling. All kinds of fears. Fears are built into us, they're hardwired. They are an autonomic response to situations, to threats that are real. They're there. You're going to fear it. An explosion goes off, and you're afraid. Even though I know it's going to go off. Even though I'm the one lighting it. Even though I'm the one that has prepared it. Even though I know it's going to... I'm afraid when it goes off. So it's hardwired. Even though we know it's coming, we're still afraid of things. We can't really turn it off. It's there so that we don't do stupid things. You don't walk out off a building. One time we were in Toronto. I think there's that glass building you go way up. Sears Tower. Where's the Sears Tower? Chicago? That's the Sears Tower. CN Tower is one I was thinking. The CN Tower. Where is that? Toronto. All right, we were in see. You guys know what's wrong. You've been there? You know they have a glass area on the floor? You're way up there. Going to step out on that glass? No. You know that glass is going to hold you. I mean, it's been there for a long time. People walk on it for a long time. People walk on it. But you still have that fear, right? Except my son. He's walk right out. He's like John. Okay? But there's that built-in fear so that we don't do stupid things. And yet I walked on it. I did. I actually got out there. We can act in spite of our fear. Even though you're afraid, you still can act. We have free will. Now we can act stupidly with that free will, or we can act courageously. Fear comes at us, but yet we can act. One time my eldest grandson, first time he was staying overnight with us, in his own bedroom. The rest of the time he's had a little crib that he would sleep in with mom and dad. This was the time he was going to sleep in his own bed, his own bedroom. Big boy now. Yeah. So he goes in there to go to sleep, and the ceiling is a ceiling fan. And it's whirling around because it's keeping the place cool for him. He'd never seen a ceiling fan before. They didn't have a ceiling fan at home. He's seen fans before, but never one on the ceiling. This frightened him. He was afraid of it. He knows not to put your finger in the fan. Now here's this fan, and it's open, and it's right there. So he was afraid. But that soon turned to worry after we explained it was. But he's still worried. No, it can't. You're not going to hit it. But he's still worried. He's worried. Fear leads to worry. But worry is not the same as fear. Despite our discussions in the waiting rooms, fear is not the same as worry. Well, fear is something you respond to from a real threat. Worry is responding to an anticipated threat. You think it might fall down. You think it might hit you. You think it might. It won't, but it might. It might. That's worry. And you can conquer worry. How do you conquer worry? You conquer worry when you finally give it up. Okay, it's not in my hands anymore. There's nothing I can do about it. It either is or it isn't, and I can't change it. I can ask God to make it better. I can ask God to protect, but He's already assured me that He's going to. So when I have enough trust and I give it up, I can conquer the worry. You can conquer worry. I think God is telling us that. I mean, that's what I said to my son, my grandson. Don't be afraid. But what I really meant was, don't worry. It won't hurt you. It can't hurt you. Trust. And when you give up and trust, you do get over the worry. Now, some people, like my wife, worry about worrying. I don't know how you get over that. But when you worry about what you should be worrying about, then maybe, I don't know how that works out. Fear not. Fear not. I am with you. Be not dismayed. For I am your God. Be not dismayed. Be not dismayed was a word that I discovered. John will appreciate this. When I looked up the word here for dismayed, it turned out to be the word, here it is, shara. Shara, which means, in other contexts, don't look around to each other. Don't look around to each other. Don't be anxiously trying to find help somewhere else. Don't be trying to find somewhere else, because I am your God. Not these other things you might be looking at. I am your God. And He's the God of the universe. He created it all. He created you. So, don't be dismayed. Don't look for help anywhere else. Now, out of those 111 verses I could have chosen, why did I choose the Isaiah verse? I knew from the beginning I wanted to talk on fear not. Weeks and weeks ago, when Pastor Ross and I decided this is what we're going to do for this period of time, I jumped on this. Okay, I want the one about fear not. And I put that in there before he got to. So I get to do the one on fear not. But why did I choose this one? There are 111 other verses that say, fear not. And they all say similar things. I am with you. I am your God. But this one comes not only with 2 commands, but 3 promises. 3 promises. I will strengthen you. It's a promise. Who promising this? My God, God is promising He's going to strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous or victorious, depending upon the translation, right hand. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you. That's His promise. And then I looked a little more closely. Think about it. If He promises to strengthen me, it must mean that He's expecting me to do something. Why would He strengthen me just to sit back and watch it? Why would He promise to help me if He didn't expect me to be doing something? Why would He want to uphold me if I were just going to recline and let it happen? He's promising to help me, to uphold me, to strengthen me as I go through whatever it is the fear is. He's not promising there's not going to be pain. He's not promising that everything is going to be wonderful. He's not promising a rose garden. Is that the way it goes? But He is promising that I will be with you as together we go through that. And you have a part to play. He's telling me and He's telling you. Yes, you should be afraid. There are plenty of things on those papers to be afraid of. But we can stop worrying. We can choose to act in spite of our fear. We can choose to act and to not worry because God has it. He has our back. He's given us the strength. He's helping us. It reminds me of the story. A fellow by the name of John, another John, not this John, different John, was walking down the street. He was smiling, had a great smile on his face and humming. His pastor saw him. Did a double take. Goes, John never smiled, let alone hummed. What's going on with John here? John, you all right? Well, yes, Pastor, says John, I'm just fine. I just been to the doctor. Gave you good news. Well, he told me that I have 6 weeks to live. He tells you you have 6 weeks to live? Yes. Isn't that wonderful? Why, all my life I've been worried about when I was going to die. And now I know. I'm free of that burden. What a joy it is to live life now. I know. We can't give it up. We can trust. God has our back. Even the ultimate fear, that fear of death that John is facing, even that ultimate fear, when we look at it in the same context as the Israelites, what finally happened after the 70 years? After they've been in exile for 70 years, God gathers them back. They are regathered, and they come home. And I get a little teary-eyed when I think about this. But that's what ultimately happens to us. We get regathered. We ultimately come back together. And we go home. How can we fear that? The ultimate fear is still nothing to worry about. We can conquer it. How's it go? You know the saying. Don't tell God how big the storm is. Tell the storm how big your God is. So from the 6th century BC, 2017 and beyond, God is saying, I want to hold your hand.